I just spent a little over a month traveling around Alaska, where I had the chance to visit amazing cities on board two completely different Royal Caribbean ships. The first one was the Brilliance of the Seas, one of the Radiance class ships that counts with some of the smallest vessels in the company's fleet, followed by a back-to-back on the Quantum of the Seas, the first Quantum class ship and one of the largest cruise ships to sail Alaskan waters. I have so much to share with you about these voyages, so keep an eye on the channel and don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube and on my social media to be the first to know when more videos about this and many other adventures are ready to watch. Today, we'll be talking about the Brilliance of the Seas, more specifically about my cabin on this Alaskan voyage. A year ago, I had planned and booked back-to-back voyages through Alaska on board the Quantum of the Seas. However, the Brilliance of the Seas voyage was a last-minute thought, triggered by the high price of hotels in Vancouver at the beginning of the Alaskan season. I'll tell you more details and give some tips about it in the upcoming video about Vancouver and the Brilliance of the Seas ship tour that I'm preparing for the channel. But for now, I'm only mentioning this story to tell you that the voyage was booked at last minute, and for this reason, I ended up booking a partially obstructed cabin. Traveling in an obstructed cabin can be a game of chance. If you are lucky, you can get a cabin with a small obstruction, such as a column in the middle of the area or something like that. Or in the worst case, cabins with balconies almost completely covered by lifeboats or external parts of the ship that cause visibility or privacy issues, many times even reducing the use of your balcony while on board. So, by booking the trip at the last minute, I ended up with limited cabin options to choose from and end up deciding to book this cabin. After all, that will be an excellent opportunity to see for myself what it will be like to travel in an obstructed cabin, or as in this case, a partially obstructed cabin, and of course, have a chance to share all the details with you here on the channel. So, I booked the Brilliance of the Seas cabin 7636 on deck 7, and in this video I will tell you all the details about it, including if it is worth or not traveling in this partially obstructed cabin. Let's go! Hello cruising mates, welcome back, or if this is your first time here, welcome to Cruising the World. I'm Horton Novak, and on this channel we talk about everything related to cruise ships and exploring fantastic cities around the world. Today's video is all about cabin 7636 on board the Brilliance of the Seas. This was my second time on board the ship. The first time, back in 2017, was an unforgettable experience, as it was also my first time sailing the Mediterranean. The Brilliance entered service and began sailing in 2002, and on my first voyage in 2017, by cruise industry standards, she was still very current. However, now after so many years in service, I was curious to verify if her cabins is still current and prepared to meet the demands of today's passengers. I think it's time we check it out together. Let's go! Welcome to the Brilliance of the Seas, cabin 7636. Located middle back of the ship on deck 7. At first glance, the cabin is spacious and decorated in the same style and configuration that has become popular on several slightly older Royal Caribbean ships. The space offers a small sofa that can turn into a single bed, a coffee table, and a curtain that can be used to divide the room for privacy. The traditional double bed that can be transformed into two single beds. At the opposite side of the cabin, we will find a wardrobe by the entrance door, followed by a table with several drawers that can double as a dressing table or as a workstation, where you can plug your laptop, for example. On the sides of the central mirror, they also have some shelves that are ideal for smaller objects. Two European and two American outlets are available, but no sign of USB ports. A tip here, don't forget to bring adapters for electronic devices. Down here, hidden behind this door, you'll find a small fridge. The fridge is empty, and you can put whatever you want in it. But don't expect freezing temperatures. This refrigerator is more of a cooler than a fridge. A bit up here, just above the TV, we have a cabinet with more storage space and a cabin safe. The safe is actually very spacious. It can even fit a laptop or tablet. The little couch here has seen better times, but still comfortable. On the side of the bed, the telephone and a bedside table, just below a small night lamp. The setup on the other side of the bed is exactly the same, minus the phone. Despite hearing some complaints from other passengers on board, I found the beds quite comfortable. But now it's time for us to take a look at the controversial balcony. The space outside is not very large, wide enough for 2 chairs and a small table, but it doesn't feel crowded. The passenger can relax and enjoy the view sitting here. This area here just outside the balcony is the partial obstruction mentioned. At first glance, it may not seem to be a big issue, since as now we have access to these beautiful views. But unfortunately, this metal lip completely obscures our view of the underside of the ship, including the ocean below us. And that can be a hassle, especially when sailing in a place like Alaska, where it's common to see chunks of ice and animals like seals and whales in the vicinity of the ship. And let's face it, who wants to have this metal platform appearing in all the photos and videos, right? The bathroom in this cabin is compact, but not too small. The water pressure in the shower is very good, but unfortunately, they still have these terrible plastic curtains, which in addition to wetting the entire bathroom, stubbornly stick to our body during a shower and drive me crazy. You'll find some areas for hanging towels or other items on the wall. Behind the smaller mirrors on the corners of the basin, you'll find some cabinets to store personal products. Also, some extra storage space under the sink if you need. As a cabin, the bathroom is showing its age and also needs an update. In short, these are my final thoughts on this Brilliance of the Seas cabin. In my opinion, cabin 7636 is comfortable and offers a space that I would say is quite reasonable for 2 people. It has several options in space to organize your luggage and personal belongings. That said, the cabin is pretty outdated and needs a revitalization, including a new color scheme. The biggest problem, in my opinion, are the limited number of outlets in the cabin. Only 2 European and 4 American outlets are not enough to serve 2 passengers with all the electronic paraphernalia we carry nowadays. Not to mention that one of the sockets next to the bed is totally obstructed by the pillows when using the 2 beds configuration instead of the double bed one, and because of that, the plug can't be used at night. Another big problem is the complete absence of USB ports in the cabin, since most electronic equipment, such as mobile phones and tablets, use this type of connection. Maybe this is not a big problem for the passenger in general, but if, like me, you have several pieces of equipment that use USB connections to charge your batteries and did not bring your charge from home, the configuration of this cabin can be a huge headache. Another problem for me is the curtains in the shower. Here between us, plastic curtains are not effective at all. At the end of your shower, the bathroom will always be drenched. Not to mention that the shower cubicle space is small. And one thing I hate with passion is the dreadful plastic curtains sticking to my back while I'm taking a shower. Ugh. What do you think? It's just me who hates the shower curtains? Let me know in the comment section below. And now, just to finish, let's talk about the partially obstructed balcony. The obstruction in this cabin is a metal lip suspension on the outside of the balcony. It actually is a rooftop that shelters the lifeboats on deck 6 and the outside of deck 5 just below them. Because of this obstruction, this balcony is a weird one to classify, because despite having a great view of everything on the horizon, the passenger can't see anything below in the ocean. And this can sometimes be only annoyance, or maybe a big problem, especially if you are traveling in a place like Alaska, where it's common to have ice blocks floating in the ocean, and also where animals like seals and whales can be spotted swimming near to the ship. And in this cabin, you definitely miss all the action happening just below you in the ocean. I actually was able to experience the difference between the partially obstructed cabin on the Brilliance of the Seas, followed by a standard balcony cabin on the Quantum of the Seas while sailing in Alaska. And I have to admit that a full view from my balcony made a big difference in creating an unforgettable experience while sailing in the Alaskan region. Keep an eye on the channel, I will be releasing my Quantum of the Seas cabin review soon, and also a video comparing both ships, to find out which is the best option to sail through Alaska. Overall, I can't say that the obstruction on the Brilliance of the Seas was the most terrible thing I have seen, especially when comparing to some other cabins where the lifeboats hang in front of the balconies or windows and block the cabin's view almost completely. I would recommend this cabin as an alternative to an indoor cabin, especially if you get a good discount on the reservation, or if having a completely unobstructed view is not something too important to you. But overall, especially if it is your first time on a cruise, I would avoid this cabin and opt for the standard one if possible. It should give you the chance to fully experience what only a balcony cruise cabin can offer. And a tip here, if you're planning to visit Alaska, a cabin with a balcony is essential. Believe me, you won't regret it. I hope this video has helped answer some of your questions about this cabin. If you have any other inquiries or comments, leave a note in the comment section below or on my social media. And don't forget to subscribe to be the first to know when the next video arrives in the channel. Happy travels! See you in the next video.